taking all the available bases on his side of the map. Ghost Academy is coming in for MorroW, as well as you know, just more MMM all the time. He's also getting armor level 1, so he'll be at 1-1 soon, whereas DIMAGA is just now getting his 1-1 started. So he'll be a little bit ahead and have a narrow window of attack where his units will be superior, but DIMAGA actually pulling ahead. No, he's actually not pulled ahead in food yet. He does have a lot of Mutalisks, a lot of Banelings and Zerglings, but MorroW is actually still ahead in food by about 15 to 20. So he's got a good unit spread there around that watchtower. Check it out. He's got this whole side of the map basically sectioned off with siege tanks, but there weren't enough Marines in the area, and these Mutalisks were able to take out 2 tanks very, very quickly there, handily, and not losing hardly any mutas there. So good job by DIMAGA just to get a couple of tanks for free. It looks like a Thor is being built here at this factory, which is a little interesting, but you know, Mutalisks can do fine. This number of Mutalisks can do fine against a Thor, even with that splash damage, but with all these Marines supporting, the Marines are actually going to be the ones killing the mutas faster with that stim and just the sheer number of Marines that there are. He's trying to kill off this turret here so that he doesn't have to contend for this watchtower. There goes the turret, but DIMAGA still has a very large cloud of lings. He needs to stay away from these Marines while they're stimmed. Did I say he had a cloud of Marines? He has a cloud of Mutalisks. He needs to stay away from the Marines. Looks like MorroW is bringing an SCV over here to build a command center. A changeling is dropped, but there's a turret right there. So I'm not sure. Wow, the changeling actually, you know, hanging out. MorroW, of course, not paying attention. So the changeling gets a free look at the entire army of MorroW. There he is, just hanging out. And these mutas are trying to sweep in and find the best positioning to kill off some tanks. However, with all these turrets now in the area, these mutas become less and less effective. Turrets all over the place, mutas, and Muta's not going to be able to really get through there to kill these tanks anymore. The Thor is now over there. Lots and lots of Marines are over there. Oh, this is great, though. This expansion is not really protected very well at the moment, so DIMAGA is able to take out all those turrets and basically run away without losing any Mutalisks. Good job, DIMAGA. And has he been building more Banelings? You know he has. Don't even ask. But here's the real development. Ultralisk Cavern. That hive went up without me noticing, and the Ultralisk Cavern is hanging out right here next to the spire, getting that chitinous plating, so his ultras will have tons and tons of armor. These mutas moving in here, but MorroW has built like 100 turrets here at his back rocks to keep those away. He wants to protect his tech buildings, you know, the armory basically being his only tech building. The rest is a production structure. But Burrow coming in. Ground and weapons, melee weapons, level 2 both. Chitinous plating. Ventral sacks for overlords, so we might see some ultra drops perhaps. We've got a spire turning into a greater spire, so DIMAGA is going all out, getting pretty much every unit available except for Hydralisks, which I love Hydralisks, but you know, better resources better invested in other places, I suppose. Look at this huge mass of MMM. MorroW's army is maxed. This is a max Terran army, if you didn't really know what one looked like. This is a max Terran army minus 65 SCVs. DIMAGA's still working with 45 drones, even though he's on the same number of bases. That's a little interesting to me. But DIMAGA has 105 Zerglings, 42 Banelings, and 2 Ultras already out on the field against only 36 Marines, 23 Marauders. These 7 siege tanks are actually going to be huge. The Ghosts could be effective if MorroW is actually paying enough attention to micro them specifically. MorroW does send a Marine in there just to see what is going on up at this base, because this would be the easiest base to pick off at the moment. But MorroW's at max. He's rolling upgrades. He's getting personal cloaking for his ghosts. He's getting weapon upgrades. Basically all he can do right now is let his money pile up. Look at this, 3,000 and 2,000. Minerals and gas. DIMAGA did a drop. Oh my god, he dropped some lings, and MorroW basically had no units in the area to counter this. Those overlords scooted past those 9 million turrets that MorroW had up at the rear of his base and dropped some lings in there just to kill off an empty gas and not even kill off this armory, but did let DIMAGA have a look around. 4 more barracks being tacked on near this planetary fortress. I like that. Tech Lab's coming up all the time. The reason he's doing this is he's planning to do a push here soon, I think, evidently, because he's at max food. And when he pushes all those units in, he wants to be able to tab through his production buildings and spam the hell out of Marines and Marauders as much as he can to get them back onto the field quickly, because he knows every hatchery of DIMAGA is going to have a ton of larvae. That one has 14, that one has 19, this one has 18, this one has 14. I mean, DIMAGA's actually going to be food blocked here soon too at 200. Supply capped, I should say, not blocked. But he's got 5 Broodlords. He's got several Ultralisks. He's got Lings and Banelings for days. These Broodlords actually going to be moving out now, trying to pick on this bottom expansion for MorroW, and that's actually the best one to do it because there are no real forces here to combat these Broodlords. The Broodlings are going to be able to take out turrets and SCVs and things like that, while the Broodlords just focus down the actual planetary fortress. He even gets a couple shots there on that Marine. The siege tank was in range down here and blasted that Marine. So Broodlords killing off pretty much every worker down here. MorroW is very slow to react. He pulls all his units in from basically way back here to try and go deal with these Broodlords, but look at this huge mass of Mutalisks, Banelings, and Zerglings ready to pounce as soon as MorroW gets a little bit out of position. All these Broodlords here still with just a ton of health. This planetary fortress is going to go down, so just 5 Broodlords needed to take out a planetary fortress. That is the best exchange DIMAGA could have hoped for. He did not lose a single food of his army during that encounter. So now ghosts are starting to move in. Cloaked ghosts are sniping away at these Broodlords. Like I said, ghosts will be very effective if handled correctly. And so Broodlords starting to die off now, but all the Mutalisks, Ultras, Lings, and everything move in. I saw some fungal growth there from the Infestors. Banelings, you hear that sizzle going off all the time. The Ultralisk dies incredibly fast. Another Ultra dies up here incredibly fast to all these Marauders and Siege Tanks. Broodlords still doing work here. There's still 4 Broodlords alive. I'm sure they've got a ton of kills. Actually, no, not that many kills. Only about 10 between them. But all these Mutas starting to get thinned out now. Yes, DIMAGA does need to run away. DIMAGA left with 102 food. MorroW with 126 and rising. But DIMAGA had all that tons of larvae. He is actually low on money, though, getting 3 Ultralisks. Ground and melee attacks level 3 each, so he will have fully upgraded Ultralisks soon. MorroW, on the other hand, we can see what he's cranking out. Siege Tanks and Vikings to deal with Broodlords and Ultralisks. Pretty much the proper response from MorroW. These Overlords now finally getting out of MorroW's base, but meeting up with these several Vikings of MorroW. I'm sure I'm saying DIMAGA instead of MorroW and MorroW instead of DIMAGA, and I apologize, but MorroW kills a couple of Overlords there. There is a Broodlord over here trying to break down some rocks or hit some turrets or something, but he basically ran away and had to get a nice transfusion from that lovely queen. But so DIMAGA actually was a little lower on food after that huge engagement, Banelings being a big part of that, because any Banelings that die before they can kill something are a total waste of a unit, and because basically Splash kills them and, kills other things too. So yeah, 3 Overlords being loaded up with Ultralisks now, so DIMAGA looking to do something a little more crafty than just, running headlong into MorroW's army. He's got Mutalisks on one end. He could actually harass just with these Mutas. Yes, there he does. He kills off that turret and runs away before losing anything of his own. MorroW's ground units are at 2-1 here. The ground units for DIMAGA, of course, though, are fully maxed now. He's even got 1-1 Flyers, armor, and... oh man, this actually, I think I know what DIMAGA's going to do, and I don't like it. He's going to drop the Ultralisks into the army of MorroW, and that's going to be even uglier than just having them at the front. We'll just have to see here. Look at all these fungal growth Vikings. That was actually really good to save those Overlords, but check this out. There goes an Ultralisk. It's dead. There goes an Ultralisk right here. He's dead. And the other one, I don't even know if he got out of his Overlord. I think the Overlord might have died before we even saw that third Ultralisk. So DIMAGA making a huge mistake there. 120 food now for MorroW. DIMAGA at 115, rebuilding these Ultras very, very quickly, as we can see. 4 Ultras and 12 Lings coming out now. This Terran mech almost fully upgraded now. This could be really bad for DIMAGA here soon. He's going to be at 2-3. Or wait, no. I guess, yeah, he'll be at 2-3. Oh, infantry weapons will be at 3, never mind. But, mech and infantry both being heavily upgraded. All DIMAGA can really do is build a bunch of Ultras and a handful of Broodlords. Actually, he probably doesn't want to invest in Broodlords anymore because so many Vikings are starting to show up now. Ultras, not really sure. I mean, because there's so many tanks and stimmable Marauders, even Ultras don't seem like a great choice right now. He is trying to break down the back rocks of MorroW. Sometimes we'll see this in early game for the first time ever. Maybe we're seeing it this late into a TVZ, trying to break down those back rocks, but an Ultra dies there without doing anything. So, I mean, that's just pretty sad, actually, how fast Ultralisks get melted. And he's building more all the time, getting another Infestor. I would not argue against seeing a Nidus Canal at this point in the game. He could probably pop one right back here, kill off this Planetary Fortress with Ultras, pop one back here, kill off this Orbital Command, perhaps. you know, Nidus Canal really shines late game if you can get them popped up, because MorroW's got so much area that he needs to cover. It should be much easier to sneak in a Nidus Worm. Nidus Worm right here even would be snuck in perfectly, because MorroW has no vision of it already. He'd be looking all over his base for where the roar was, and DIMAGA's units would be in a great position. But here, one solitary siege tank here trying to blast away, kill off some Lings or something. The Ultra's getting a little bit out of position, but now DIMAGA is moving in with his fully upgraded Ultras. He kills that tank, kills a couple of ghosts. All these tanks are not sieged up. They actually do higher DPS when they're not sieged, but they do less splash, obviously. And all those fungal Marines and Marauders get taken out by a couple of Ultras. All these Ultras are actually in really low health. MorroW trying to do some dropship micro to get the high ground here. More Ultras coming all the time to help out. There is another Infestor here, so one more Fungal is possible. Is he going to Fungal this? No! The Infestor goes down incredibly quickly before Fungal can get out, and these Ultras still just really low health. You know, MorroW hasn't lost a ton yet here. DIMAGA and MorroW are actually very even food still. No, actually DIMAGA's way ahead because of all that larva and just building nothing but Ultralisks, which are 6 supply each. Able to stay ahead on supply count. Another transfusion there going down on that Ultra. More Ultras down here in the south. What is MorroW building? Only Marauders right now, even though he's got... Oh, he's actually blocked on minerals, not gas. He has 3,000 gas, pretty much, and less than 100 minerals, where DIMAGA, what sort of spending problems is he having? He's got no gas. Instead, he has 1,700 minerals and not enough gas to keep cranking out Ultras and Broodlords. This single Broodlord still hasn't done anything. He just keeps floating around. He's the last of his kind. Finally, these Vikings come in here and kill him off. That was the last Broodlord I think we're going to see this game. Instead, Ultras and Lings seem to be DIMAGA's endgame strategy here. More Ultras coming in on this Xel'Naga tower. Ultras down here cleaving away at these units of MorroW. MorroW unable to micro them away. He's focusing too much on something else at the time. This Planetary Fortress actually does surprisingly well against Ultras, unless the Ultras are killing the SCVs. So good job by DIMAGA for killing off SCVs instead of just having them all focus on that Planetary Fortress. They actually killed that thing incredibly quick with their headbutt attacks. So DIMAGA pulling a little farther ahead, even more now. 138 food to only 50-something food from MorroW. All these Vikings taking up a lot of that supply and not being effective because there are no Mutas or Broodlords anywhere on the ground. DIMAGA actually gaining a lot of ground here. More full health Ultras coming in. This Infestor here for a nice Fungal whenever needed, and Lings everywhere. So DIMAGA actually running right past the natural, killing off that Planetary Fortress at the 4th base. This high yield's mined out, the natural's mined out, the main is mined out. MorroW has nowhere to go except for this base, and he cannot hold it. So DIMAGA doing a good job. He was the last one with an operational base, and all these Ultralisks just headbutted and cut their way through MorroW's forces relentlessly throughout the game. Finally able to take out MorroW. MorroW actually did not do a ton of aggression there. He was sort of in a defensive stance the entire game, which is very surprising to see. So very hard fought, very well played game by DIMAGA to beat MorroW in these semifinals. Just for this game, this was a best of 5. And I'm not going to spoil the results, but I mean, they're all over the place by now. If you want to watch the finals from these IEM, they are all on my channel, so you can go watch those. But I want to thank you guys for watching this, and I hope you guys agree that this game was pretty awesome and not like boring, because I thought it was awesome. Broodlords, Ultras, the only thing I would have liked to see was a Nidus attack somewhere, and possibly a nuke. I mean, BCs even might have been fun to watch, but you know, just 2 heavy macro players going at it. Terran mech being toppled by mass Ultras, Broodlords, and Infestors. I just like to see Zerg win every once in a while against that mech setup, and DIMAGA was the perfect candidate to do that. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time I do a cast.